أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ. And certainly we have created the human being. We have created al-insan, meaning Adam alayhi salam, the first human being. We created him from min salsalin, out of clay, min hama'in, from an altered black mud. Hama, black mud, masnoon, altered. So وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. We did certainly create man out of clay from an altered black mud. Salsal is from the root letters Sad, Lam, Lam. And according to others, it's from the root letters Sad, Lam, Sad, Lam. Salsal has been understood in various ways. First of all, it has been said that salsal is dry clay. It is dry mud. This is not dust. Okay, it's not dust, which is like powdery, dry dust. No, this is clay that has dried up. Okay, clay that has dried up. And salsala, with a ta marbuta at the end, salsala, is the sound that is produced from something that is dry. Like for example, if you pass your hand over something that is dry, there is going to be some sound. Similarly, if you touch it, if you knock at it, there's going to be some sound. Whereas something wet, if you pass your hand over it, no sound is going to be produced. If you touch it, if you knock it, no sound is going to be produced. So salsala is a sound that is produced from something that is dry. Like for example, a dry leaf. If you step on it, if you walk on dry leaves, you're going to hear crunching sounds, right? Whereas on the other hand, if you step on fresh leaves, no sound is going to be produced. So salsal is, first of all, dry clay. Secondly, it is said that salsal is such clay that begins to smell. And this is then derived from the root letter sad, lam, lam, from the word salla. It is said salla al-lahmu, meaning when the smell of the meat goes bad. Okay, salla al-lahmu. If for example, you bought meat, you left it in the refrigerator, you did not put it in the freezer, and after a few days you take it out, obviously it's going to have a bad smell. It's going to have gone bad. So salla al-lahmu, when the meat has gone bad, and as a result of that, it's producing a very nasty smell. Thirdly, it is also said that salsal is such clay that is mixed with small pebbles. That is mixed with small pebbles. So, salsal is what kind of clay? Mud that is dried. According to others, it is such mud that smells bad. And it is such mud that has been mixed with small pebbles. If you think about it, when you have dry dust, if you add water to it, what's going to happen? It's going to become very muddy, watery. And if you leave it like that, eventually it's going to become sticky. And then eventually it's going to become dry. As it dries, as the moisture evaporates, what happens? When you touch it, when you knock at it, perhaps a sound is going to be produced. Right? So these different meanings show the different stages that mud has gone through. So salsal. But this salsal, where did this mud come from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, min hama'in. He created the human being from such dry clay that was min hama'in, from black mud, that is masnoon, that is altered. Hama is from the root letters ha, mim, hamza, and hama is also used for clay. But what kind of clay is hama? Hama, it is said, is such mud, it is such clay that has gone black, and that is wet, that is dark in its color, it's also very smelly. So hama is black, smelly mud. It is said, ahma'tuha, meaning I filled such and such thing with mud. Ahma'tuha, I filled such and such thing with mud. So obviously it's going to be wet mud. And this hama, this black mud, it is masnoon. Masnoon is a sifa of Hama. Masnoon is from the root letter Sin, Noon, Noon. And Sanna yasunnu literally means to mold. To give a mold to something, to give a shape to something. So Masnoon, molded, tapered. And Masnoon is basically mutaghayyir, that which is altered. So for example, we learn in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 259, where we learned about Uzair alayhi salam, when he was passing by a town that had been وَهِيَ خَاوِيَةٌ عَلَىٰ عُرُوشِهَا قَالَ أَنَّا يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. So he was made to die for 100 years, and he was told afterwards that look at your food, لَمْ يَتَسَنَّ. Remember? لَمْ يَتَسَنَّ. It has not gone bad. It has not altered. It has not decayed. It's exactly how it was before. So sanna yasunnu is to give a shape, to give a form to something, and in order to do that you have to alter it. Right? You have to alter it. So masnoon is one that is altered and one that is molded. One that is given a shape. From the same root is the word sunnah. What is sunnah? The way of the Prophet ﷺ. Right? And why is it called sunnah? Because it is a certain way of performing actions. So everything that you do, what do? You put that into the mold of sunnah. Right? For example, if you have to eat, what do? You look at the sunnah. How did the Prophet ﷺ eat? With his right hand. And he ate from what was before him on the serving plate. Right? And he would eat without blowing at the food. Right? So sunnah is the way of the Prophet ﷺ, which serves as a mold for us. We put our actions into it and shape them accordingly. So masnoon, two meanings. First of all, altered. And secondly, one that has been given a shape, one that has been given a form. So hama'im masnoon, what does it mean? Black mud that is altered, that has gone bad, that has produced a bad smell. Secondly, hama'im masnoon, altered black mud that has been molded, that has been shaped, that has been given a form. So what does it mean by this? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being from salsal min hama'in masnoon. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being from salsal mud, from dry mud, that was previously hama, that was previously black and decayed, and it was masnoon, it was given a shape, it was given a form. Do you understand? So what does this show to us? That the mud from which Adam a.s. was created, it was made to go through several forms. It was made to go through several stages, several forms. And eventually, from a particular stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Adam a.s. Which is why we see that in the Quran, several words have been used for the clay from which Adam a.s. was created. For example, sometimes we read the word turab. Right? Turab. What does turab mean? Dust. Dust that is dry. Similarly, we read the word teen. And what is teen? Such mud that is wet, water has been added to it. So turab is the first stage, then is the teen. Then after teen comes hama. Meaning when the mud, it stays sitting wet for a long time, what happens? It turns dark, it produces a smell, it becomes sticky. This is what? Hama. Then masnoon. The next stage is masnoon. And what is that? When it is given a shape, when it is given a form, or according to the other meaning, when it's altered. And altered means that it has become smelly, it's rotting. Then the next stage is salsal. And salsal is dry. When you touch it, and it produces a sound. And after salsal comes fakhar. And fakhar is the potter's clay. Basically, when something has been made with clay, and when you bake it, it becomes hard, And when you touch it, when you knock at it, it produces a loud sound. And from this word fakhar is the word fakhr, which is to boast. Because when a person is touched, when he's appreciated even a little bit, what happens? He begins to show himself off. So all of these various words that have been used for clay, what do they show? That the mud from which Adam a.s. was created, it went through this process. We learn in Surah Al-Rahman, ayah number 14, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ كَالْفَخَّارِ. He created man from clay like that of pottery. So this is from what human beings were created from. This is the origin of human beings. Mud, clay. Just imagine, nasty, smelling, black and sticky. This is our origin. And the jinn, wal janna, and the jinn, khalaqnahu, we created him, min qablu, from before. Meaning before the creation of human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created who? The jinn. And they were created from what? Min naris samoom, from a scorching fire. Al-jan is from the root letters jim, nun, nun. And it is said that al-jan is the plural of jinn. And others say that no, al-jan is abul jinn. Al-jan is who? The father of all jinn. Just as insan in the previous ayah has been used for abul bashar, for Adam alayhi salam. Similarly, al-jan refers to who? Abul jinn. And this is also because wal janna khalaqnahu. It's not khalaqnahum. Right? It's singular. So the father of all jinn, according to some, it was Iblis, and according to some, it was not Iblis. So the father of all jinn, the first jinn, he was created from naris samoom, fire that is scorching. As-samoom is from the root letter sin, mim, mim, and sam is basically a very tight and narrow hole. Sammil khiyat. What is sammil khiyat? The eye of the needle, right? Hatta yalid al-jamalu fi sammil khiyat. So sam is a very tight and narrow hole, and from this, sam is used for something that enters, that penetrates into another. How? Through the tiny holes on its surface. Like for example, on our skin also we have pores, right? But if there is an extremely hot wind, what do you feel? It is as though the heat has gone inside your body, isn't it? Similarly, if it's extremely cold, you feel as if it has gone inside your body through your skin, which is why you say bone chilling, right? It has penetrated through your skin into your bones. So as-samoom is basically extremely hot and fierce wind, extremely hot and fierce wind that penetrates the body. That penetrates the body. You know how sometimes if you are by the stove, your hands, yes, they feel warm. But if you're constantly by the stove and the heat is extremely high, you feel hot inside your body. Isn't it? Which is why you take your shawl off, you open up the windows, even if it's extremely cold, you step away from the oven, everybody's cold and you're extremely hot. Why? Because the heat has gone inside your body. This is what samoom is, extremely hot, that penetrates the body. It is also said that as-samoom is narun, it is such fire, la dukhan laha, which does not have any smoke. So basically, smokeless flame. A smokeless flame of fire. Others have said that as-samoom is ar-rihul harra allati taqtulu. Extremely hot wind that kills. That kills. Like if somebody was to die of heat, that type of heat would be as-samoom. Which is why this word is also used for a hot sandstorm. So وَالْجَانَّ خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ مِنْ نَارِ السَّمُومِ. This is from what the jinn were created from. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ. And remember, recall, mention when your Lord said, لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, to the angels, إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا. Indeed, I am one who creates, meaning I am going to create human being, a bashar, a human being with a bashara, with a human skin, min salsalin, from clay, min hama'in masnoon, from an altered black mud. I'm going to create a human being from this clay. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, then when I have proportioned him, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ, and I have breathed into him, مِنْ رُوحِي, from my soul, فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, then all of you fall down to him in prostration. If you notice, the human beings have been created from clay. And such clay that is hama'im masnoon, that is smelly, it is altered, it is nasty. And if you look at such clay, would you give any importance to it? No. You don't even want to touch it. You don't even want to go close to it. You save your shoes from it even. Isn't it so? Some people protect their cars from such mud as well. They don't want to drive over it because it's going to dirty their wheels, it's going to dirty up their car. But what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? That once I have created that human being, what do you have to do? You have to fall in prostration before him. You have to honor him. So don't just go for his origin. Don't just look at what he is created from. Look at who he is. And this is what we need to remember as well. Because sometimes we generalize people and we say, oh, this person is from that country. This person is from this family. This person is from that race. And they're not worth anything. No. We should not just look at the origin. We should look at who the person is and how we have been commanded to deal with them. So فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, سَوَّيْتُ from the root letter sin waw, and sawwa yusawwi taswiya is to level something. It is to make something even, to make something symmetrical, to equalize. And it's from the word sawa. What does sawa mean? Equal, that which is equal and same from both sides. So sawaytuhu, meaning I have made him even, I have equalized him. His body is symmetrical in the sense that he has a hand on his right and a hand on his left, a leg on the right and a leg on the left. So when I have made him this way. Secondly, sawwa yusawi taswiya is also to make something smooth, to level something. To level something. So what does it mean? That when I have leveled his body, when I have smoothened up his body, when I have given the final touches, just imagine if something is being made finally at the end, what do? You level it up. You smoothen it up. What is that? The final touches. Similarly, sawaytuhu also gives the meaning of that when I have completely created him. When his creation is complete. So فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I have created his hands, his legs, his eyes, and the rest of his body, and everything is proportioned, and his entire body is smoothened, there are no bumps, the final touches are given, his creation is complete, and once his physical body is complete, وَنَفَخْتُ, and I have blown, nafakhtu from the root letters nun fa, nafakha, which is to breathe, to blow into, and I have blown fihi, into him, meaning into Adam alayhi salam, into Bashar, min ruhi, from my ruh. In other words, when he comes alive, when the body has been completed and the ruh has been blown into him and he becomes alive, then what should you do? Fall in prostration before him. Now notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, I have blown into him from my ruh. What is ruh? Ruh is that through which a human being remains alive. If it is present in the body, the human being will remain alive. And if it departs from the body, then even if there may not be a physical problem in the body, the human being cannot remain alive. So ruh is what? What keeps the body alive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it ruhi, my ruh. Does it mean that this is the ruh of Allah that was blown into Adam alayhi salam? No, this is not what the meaning is. What this means is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is attributing the ruh to himself for two reasons. First of all, because it gives the meaning of milkiyah, of possession. That my ruh, a soul from me, a soul created by me, the one that I own, the one that I possess. For example, if you say, my computer, does it mean that computer is a part of your body? No. What does it mean? You own it, you possess it. You have authority over it. You bought it. Secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it min ruhi for the purpose of tashrif, in order to bestow, to confer honor upon Adam alayhi salam. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the Kaaba Baytullah. Does Allah literally live there? No. Nobody lives in that house. But it is called Baytullah. Why? To give honor to that house. Similarly, we learned about the Naqatullah, the she-camel of Allah. I mean, na'udhu billah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not use that camel for himself. But that camel came from Allah. So, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributes something like this to himself, what is the purpose behind it? First of all, it shows possession. And secondly, it is to confer honor upon that particular creation. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِي. Just as we learned earlier, قُلْ لِعِبَادِي. Say to my servants. What's the purpose over there? To honor the servants. So وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِي. فَقَعُوا. So all of you bow down from the root letters. Waw, qaf, ayn, waqa, literally to fall down, to happen. Lahu, to him, sajideen, once prostrating. As he comes to life, all of you prostrate immediately. We learn elsewhere in the Quran as well that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And we have certainly honored the children of Adam alayhi salam. How? That when Adam alayhi salam was created, the angels were made to prostrate. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. So the angels prostrated, كُلُّهُمْ, all of them. All of the angels who were commanded by Allah to prostrate to Adam, all of them prostrated, ajma'oon, altogether, entirely. Meaning not even one refrained from prostrating. Every single angel prostrated. And some have said that kulluhum ajma'oon, it gives the meaning of all of them together at once. It wasn't that, okay, one angel went in sajda and then another follows. No. All of them together at once they went into sajda. Like for example, when people are praying salah together, sometimes we see that people go into ruku' all together. They get it from ruku' all together. And sometimes there is a delay. Right? They're not doing it together. But when everybody is doing it together, what does it show? A lot of beauty. Right? So فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ إِلَّا Iblis, except for Iblis. And who was Iblis? Jinn. And he was amongst the angels because of his piety. What did he do? Abba, he refused. And Abba, from the root letter is Hamza Baya. What does it mean? To refuse something harshly. To turn something down, to decline. So he declined, he refused. أَن يَكُونَ مَعَ السَّاجِدِينَ, that he should be with those who do sajda. He did not want to be with those who do sajda. He did not want to be amongst them. Why? Out of his envy, out of his stubbornness, out of his arrogance and his pride. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Iblisu, O Iblis, malaka. What is wrong with you? What is the matter with you? Allah takuna ma'as sajideen, that you are not among, or you are not with those who do sajda. You are not with those who prostrate. What happened? What stopped you? What prevented you? We learn in Surah Sad, ayah 75, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ يَا إِبْلِيسُ مَا مَنَعَكَ أَن تَسْجُدَ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيَّ. That, O Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to that which I created with my own hands? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created Adam alayhi salam with his own hands. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُ وَنَفَخْتُ مِن رُوحِي. So Iblis, he did not prostrate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what prevented you? What stopped you? أَسْتَكْبَرْتَ أَمْ كُنْتَ مِنَ الْعَالِينَ. Were you arrogant or were you already among the haughty? Allah, he said. Iblis responded, لَمْ أَكُنْ. I am not. I would not. Never would I. لِأَسْجُدَ, that I prostrate, لِبَشَرٍ, to a man, to a human being, خَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ, whom you created out of clay from an altered black mud. I would never am I going to prostrate to something that you created from such a clay. What was the problem of Iblis? What was he stuck upon? The origin. And unfortunately, many times we have the same biases. I can never let my daughter marry a man who comes from such and such race and such background and such country. Although he may have nothing to do with that country anymore. He was born in the same country as you are living in right now. He perhaps does not even know that language. But just because of his color, just because of his origin, just because of his background, you're rejecting. This is arrogance, this is pride, and this is the way of shaitan. He said, I am never going to prostrate to someone whom you created from this type of clay. He did not look at the fact that Allah created him. What did he look at? The origin of the human being. لَمْ أَكُنْ لِأَسْجُدَ لِبَشَرٍ خَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. As we learned elsewhere as well, what did Iblis say? أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِنْهُ, I am better than him. خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. قال, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا, then get out from it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became extremely upset with him. And he said, فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا, get out from here. Leave. Minha, from where? Meaning min as-samawat, from the heavens, from the skies. From the presence. From that place where the angels were. فَإِنَّكَ رَجِيمٌ, for indeed you are rajim, you are expelled, you are an outcast. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ اللَّعْنَةَ, and indeed upon you is the curse, إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ, until the day of recompense. The curse of who? The curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not just the curse of Allah, but the curse of the angels and the curse of all created beings. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-la'na. So, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ اللَّعْنَةَ, you are distanced, removed away from my mercy until when? Until the day of recompense. Meaning, forever you will be cursed. Forever you will be cursed. Because until the end of this dunya, he is rajim, he is mal'oon. But afterwards, where is shaitan going? Into the hellfire, where there is la'na obviously. So, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ اللَّعْنَةَ إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ. Qala, he said, Iblis said, Rabbi, O my Lord, فَأَنظِرْنِي, then give me respite, إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ, until the day that they will be resurrected. What is that day? The day of judgment. So give me time until the people will be resurrected. What does it mean by this, فَأَنظِرْنِي? Give me time, give me respite. Meaning, let me live. Let me live. What does it show to us? That the jinn, the shayateen, they are born, they live, and they also die eventually, just like human beings. They have a limited lifespan in this dunya. However, Iblis asked for an exception. And he was given that exception. Which is why Iblis will not die until when? Until the day of judgment. Until the blowing of the trumpet. The rest of the jinn, the rest of the human beings, they die. Except for who? Iblis. فَأَنظِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ, give me respite until the day that they will be resurrected. If you notice over here, Iblis says, Rabbi. What does he say? Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord, Rabbi. What does Rabbi mean? My Lord. And if you think of it, calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like this, Rabbi, what does that express? Humility. Doesn't it? But the fact is that Iblis says Rabbi, but there is no humility. There is no humility. There is no submission. Because if there was any humility at all, then this would be ibadah. Because ibadah is what? Al-khudu' wa tadallul. To show humility. To humble oneself. So he says, my Lord, but there is no humility at all. There is only pride, there is only arrogance, and there is only defiance. Which is why his saying Rabbi also does not benefit him. It does not help him at all. And we see over here that how within moments, within a few moments, the situation, the state of Iblis is completely turned upside down. How he was amongst the angels. He was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. And he must have been very good to be in that company of the angels. But we see that now he has become rajim and he has become mal'oon. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكَ اللَّعْنَةِ. What was the reason behind this? His pride, his arrogance. And sometimes we see that we also get overcome by our emotions in certain situations. We are blinded by hate, by bias, by pride and anger, and we behave according to these emotions. We say such things, we do such things, which cause such damage that is irreparable, that cannot be fixed. What was the problem over here? Iblis was overcome by his pride and arrogance. I can never prostrate. No way I can do this. Never ever I can prostrate to this person whom you created from such nasty clay. Never can I do this. Similarly, we also are sometimes overcome by our emotions. We are blinded by them and we don't use our mind. We don't use our mind at that time. We don't act according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us. And it takes moments to do such things, to say such things which cause such damage that is irreparable, that cannot be fixed at all. This is why when we are angry, what should we do? We should just remain silent. We should drink some water, leave that place. قال, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِنَّكَ, so indeed you, مِنَ الْمُنظَرِينَ, of those who are given respite. So Iblis was given this respite, that he was not going to die until when? Until the day of judgment. إِلَى يَوْمِ الْوَقْتِ الْمَعْلُومِ, until the day of the time that is well known. إِلَى يَوْم, until the day, al-waqt, the time, al-ma'loom, that is well known. Meaning that is well known to who? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As to when exactly the trumpet will be blown, when the day of judgment is going to be established, who knows about it? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is this day? The day of the death of all living things, living creatures at that point. Which means that all the creatures that are alive from amongst the human beings and the animals and the jinn and the angels even, all of them will die. إِلَى يَوْمِ الْوَقْتِ الْمَعْلُومِ. قال, he said, Iblis said, Rabbi, O my Lord. Again he says Rabbi. But this is not ibadah. Bima, because of what? أغويتني, you have put me in error. He blames Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you put me in error. You have led me astray. And we have done the meaning of أغويتني earlier as well. What does it mean? That you gave me a command which I could not fulfill, and thus I am misguided. I am in error. So in other words, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You should have never given me that instruction. Like many times even we say such things. That why was the test so hard? Why was the assignment so hard? Because it was so hard, that's why I couldn't pass it, and that's why, I have bad marks. But the fact is that if any test is given to you, it is expected that you have studied it, because it's from within the lessons that you have studied. Similarly, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Iblis to that test, it wasn't that Iblis did not know that he was to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever the command is, whether he understands it or not. So he blames Allah. قَالَ رَبِّ بِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي, you have misguided me, you have put me into error. And because you have done this to me, I will take revenge. And what is my revenge going to be? That لَأُزَيِّنَنَّ, I will definitely beautify, I will definitely adorn. From the root letters, زَيَّنُونَ. I will definitely adorn, lahum, for them, meaning for the people, fil ardi, in the earth. What will I adorn and beautify and decorate for them? What will I beautify for them? Sins, acts of disobedience. I will make them very attractive. I will make them look very good. Desires, lusts, sins, passions, all of them. Very good, which is why they will want to do them. وَلَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ, and surely I will definitely mislead them. أَجْمَعِينَ, altogether. Meaning, I will go after each and every single one of them. Every single one of them. There is no human being that I will spare. Look at the goal of Iblis. Look at his vision. Look at his mission. That my goal is that I'm going to mislead every single human being, ajma'een, not even one. He doesn't say some. What does he say? All. Do we have a goal? Or no goal? Look at the goal of Iblis. Look at his vision. All people he wants to mislead. And he doesn't think, I'm only one jinn. He doesn't think like that. What do we think? When we think about Quran for all, in every hand and every heart, we say, how is it possible? It's so unrealistic. No, it's realistic. Illa except, ibadaka, your servants, minhum, among them, al-mukhlasin, who are chosen. Meaning, I will go after each and every single person, and I will mislead all of them, but I will not be able to mislead your servants among them who are mukhlasin, who are chosen, whom you have chosen, whom you have selected, whom you have saved, whom you will guide and protect. Those I will not be able to mislead. So what does this show to us? That if we want to be of those who are not influenced by the shaitan, then we have to be among the mukhlasin. And who is mukhlas? Someone who is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of his ikhlas, because of his sincerity. Someone who is chosen, who is selected by Allah, whom Allah guards, He protects, He takes care of. Why? Because of his sincerity. Because of his effort as well. As we learned earlier, يَهْدِي إِلَيْهِ مَنْ أَنَابَ. Allah guides the one who turns to Him. So we see that shaitan is after each and every single person. And what does he do? He makes sin appear as very beautiful. Things that are very useless, lahv, he makes them seem very attractive. Like for example, if people are playing a particular game, it's such a big deal. What's a big deal? You're not playing. If they win, you're not going to get any money. But it's made to appear as such a big deal that there's no way I can miss it. No way I can miss it. How could I ever come to class on that day? Now how could I not check my phone to check the updates? So we see that this is a tactic of shaitan, that useless things, time wasters, or things in which there is sin involved, there is disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala involved, he makes these actions look very attractive. And we feel as if we cannot survive without them. We think that yelling at people is so cool, you're so confident. You can actually answer back, wow. So this is the tactic of shaitan. He makes sin very beautiful. And we all need to check ourselves. That if we want to be saved from the attack of shaitan, then we must become al-mukhlasin. Those people who do everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no matter how much attractive sins may appear, he will leave it for the sake of Allah. Because he does everything for whose sake? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever he leaves, whatever he does, for the sake of Allah.